Hey again everyone, and welcome back to the channel for the next installment in our new figure showcase series. And if you're new to the channel and joining us for the first time, this is just a series of videos I do where I take a look at the newer figure that I'm adding to the collection. Most of the time it will be a more recent release, but there are exceptions here and there. But for today, we're going to be jumping back into the world of Marvel, and in particular, Deadpool and Wolverine, and taking a look at the Deadpool variant, Ladypool. Alright, so let's talk about the character. Very small cameo in the movie, right? I think she was used heavily in the marketing. She was definitely one of the more standout variants, other than Nicepool himself, who definitely had much more of an extended appearance in the movie. But she was definitely one of the standouts. And look, we're getting a couple already. We're getting Kidpool, we've already gotten Dogpool, and we've gotten multiple versions now with the one included with Ladypool. We've gotten Babypool, Headpool, we're getting Nicepool. We're getting that third-party cowboy pool as well. So I think they're definitely populating the variants, or we're going to get a nice set of variants from the movie. But Ladypool is definitely one of those that stands out, and she has a much more distinctive look from some of the other characters. So not surprising that we're getting her, given the hype around her. Although, again, screen time-wise, not one of the variants that got the most screen time in the movie. But let's take a look at what Hot Toys is giving us here. And look, the first thing you'll notice is you're getting a ton of hands, right? That seems to be the norm now with any of these Deadpool figures, especially the Deadpool variants, just because of all the hand motions they do have. You're getting the standard weapons, right? The swords, as well as the two Uzis that she uses. You're getting another version of Dogpool, and then just the variant eye patches and swappable eyes. So very straightforward, simple release. But let's take a look at the accessories in more detail, and we're going to start as we always do with the hands. So look, there's nothing wrong here with these. These are actually pretty well done, and they do have a distinctive look, especially when you compare them to the Deadpool hands. I do like the fact that the black on the glove is a little more pronounced with just kind of hints of red, because it does give you some nice variation. But you're basically getting a bunch of hands that are pre-posed in displays and obviously set up to hold the accessory. So the really impressive here is just the sheer amount of hands that you're actually getting, but really a nice set overall. Next up, you get another standard with these Deadpool figures, which are the swappable eyes. They're all magnetically affixed to the portrait, and look, it's just different appearances and different levels of squinting, including some surprise looks. So it works. They're functional. I think you pick the one you want and then you go with it. And now, as far as weapons, you get her two Uzis, right? Very distinctive and very different from the Desert Eagles that our Deadpool uses. Now, from a detail perspective, they look very nice. There's a nice weathering to them. They look very metallic, and then they do have removable clips, but very simple, right? Nothing crazy about these. The sculpting is great. The paint app is very decent. And then as far as the swords, again, you get the standard swords that we've gotten accustomed to Deadpool having. Now, I will get into an issue I had with these in a little bit, but the sheaths for them, for her back, they do connect to the figure magnetically, and that's where I had some of the issues. Now, as far as the swords themselves, they're plastic. They do have a nice hint of yellow at the blades. I will say that the handles don't have as much detail as the ones that we got with the original Deadpool. And there is also some writing at the bottom in script, although for the life of me, I can't tell what it's supposed to say, and I haven't seen any of the shots from the promotional material from the movie to see what that is. So if any of you know, I'm very curious to know what they say. And then, of course, you're getting another version of Dogpool. Now, as opposed to the one that came with Deadpool, this one doesn't include the goggles, but look, it's just another version of the dog that I think everybody really fell in love with during the movie. And he looks great as far as detail work with the eyes, and then in particular with the Deadpool tag, the tongue sticking out. It's just a great addition to the set, and it's definitely taking on that role of Grogu from the Mandalorian series. So now, let's jump into the figure itself, and we're going to look at the sculpt. Very simple, very straightforward, right? It is the Deadpool sculpt, just slightly different patterns to the stitching around the mask, but it's definitely Deadpool again, so nothing there other than the nice texture on the fabric and the material. What does stand out here is, now, This is not an artisan figure, but there is wool implantation for the ponytail. And I have to admit, it looks really, really good. It comes pre-posed and preset with some kind of gel or product. But it looks good, and you can move it a little bit. I'm trying not to handle it too much because I don't want it to lose kind of that overall look that it has, but it's just really well done. And it's impressive that obviously this is not a full artisan full head sculpt, it's just a ponytail, but it really does stand out. Now, as far as the rest of the figure, it's again a unique suit, nothing that very similar to the other Deadpools, but it stands out in its own ways, right? Obviously it's a female body at this point, but you do get kind of the different highlights of black and different accents, and she does have the different straps on the top of her arms as well. Also has a Deadpool belt condition, and then she does have the holsters for the Uzis that do connect, where the holsters do, the guns do connect to that magnetically. So that's pretty impressive. And then you get the standard boots as well with all that detail. It's the red and black motif that we've come to expect from Deadpool. Very straightforward, very nicely done. I think the detailing on the suit is pretty much continuing what we'd expect from Hot Toys. But it's nothing that I regret to say this, but it's nothing that we really haven't seen before, right? It's just slight variations on the theme, and there's nothing wrong there, especially when you're able to execute it as well as they have been. Now, when it comes to actually discussing the figure itself, there's nothing wrong with it, right? The figure poses well. The suit is not restrictive at all. The swapping of the hands is actually relatively painless. And she holds all the equipment and all the gesturing hands and everything well. The issue I had was with the sheaths for the swords, right? I don't know if it's the shape of the figure or the way the figure kind of stands. I did try moving her and bending her torso a little bit forward or a little bit back and kind of twisting it. But for some reason, the magnet doesn't allow for the scabbard to sit flush on her back, so it's kind of hanging there. Fortunately enough, the magnets are on the stronger side, so the sheaths for the sword do stay in place, but I did find that to be an issue, and anytime I was trying to pose her, I felt that those things would rotate or they would actually fall off the figure. So that was definitely a big issue I had. But other than that, look, she holds the sword. Again, she poses well. She is that standard Deadpool that I think Hot Toys is pretty much knocked out of the park at this point. I was happy to see that my version did not have any issues with the feet. Like when we saw the original Deadpool, a lot of people complained about how the foot pegs, the ankle pegs would break on them. So I'm glad to see that doesn't seem to be an issue with this figure. Again, this is a figure that's going to appeal to you if you love the movie and if you want to start owning some of these Deadpool variants. But there's not much else I could say, right? I think, if I apologize if I don't sound as excited as maybe I should be, but it's a very simple figure. It's done extremely well. There's nothing wrong with a simple figure, but it is just a Deadpool variant, and it does have some nice, unique features. For example, the hair, the fact that it is a female variant of him. The weapons are a little bit different, but not much else to this figure. So really well done. If you're looking to really flesh out that Deadpool and Wolverine line, this is a figure that I think you're going to like. And I think once you start getting some of the variants like Kid Pool, like Cowboy Pool, Nice Pool, you're really going to start seeing this line come to life. But look, it's not surprising that Hot Toys is going all in on this movie, considering the success it was and how much I enjoyed it. And I think this is definitely one of the standout variants from the movie. So another great job from Hot Toys. Definitely not going to be my top figure of the year just because there's so much else that's coming out that's so impressive, but it doesn't take away from the fact that this is a very solid figure. So those were just some of my thoughts. Let me know what you think about this figure, and as always, we'll touch base on the next video.